Well, good afternoon, and welcome to another feature stream for Europa Universalis IV Mare Nostrum. I regret to inform you that both Kanur and Bjorn are sick today, so it's just me that you get. And I also regret to inform Kanur that I have butchered his setup here in order to get in here and keep the show going, because didn't want to cancel it just because of that. We got some stuff to show off in Mare Nostrum just for you. I'm going to trust everything is okay. You'll keep me right in the chat. I have my eyes on there at Paradox Interactive. Tag us with that if you need to ask anything or want anything pointed out, or indeed need anything changed here. And yeah, this is going to be a pretty improv stream as well, because what is even going on here? Well, we'll get it all sorted out, won't we? Won't we just? I'm seeing a bit of Nitra hype. I hope I'm getting it right with Nitra. But that was a country that I got told everything about after we showed it off pretty much accidentally in the last feature stream. Still, nonetheless, let's get right into the game, shall we? Since we want to show some stuff off with Mare Nostrum. But where do we even begin? We've already been through quite a few of the changes that have gone on, but there is one big announcement that we had about it last week that we're definitely going to be touching upon in this. Now, as I said, I've got my eyes on the chat. I see the questions coming in about Condottieri. Absolutely, I see no reason not to. But yeah, I don't think we'll start off with that though. We'll ease into it. I just want to take another moment to look at and enjoy the map changes that we have going on in Africa. Indeed, if you've ever wanted to play around the Great Lakes or get some more love going on around the Congo, had plenty of new provinces and countries introduced there. All for your enjoyment. And a few other map changes. France been prettified. A bit of a strait across Gibraltar, and I'm pretty sure I completely failed to notice last time. But there is something that our QA Starnan insisted on being shown off today. He had a save called Into the Future We Go. Now, just in case you missed the previous feature stream, we want to show this again because it's become a bit of a favourite feature around the office. So, for example, we've been running this game until the year 3400, and well, it's maybe not the world that you know and love from 1444, although it is certainly a world I can love with a USA looking like that, even if they couldn't secure all of French Mexico. But that's neither here nor there. The question is, how did it all come about? How did... Am I seeing that right? Breton Brittany? Impressive work there, Brittany. Quite the exodus you've pulled there. But how did this all come to be? That is where the timeline comes in. And we can see the map as we knew and loved it back in 1444. And sit back and enjoy the carnage from there. Release Inverness as a vassal so we can see their ideas, please. I don't think we have any special Highlander ideas, but that is where you can come in. Now, we have a lot of people saying, I want ideas for these guys or that guys, or this, that, and everything. The goal is to have all nations, at least in 1444, to have some unique ideas, or at least part of a group idea, like the German set or the French minor idea set. But if you see a nation and they are underloved with their ideas, by all means, go into our suggestions forum. There's even a compilation thread of suggested ideas. We can't put any guarantees on if you put ideas in there they'll get into the game, but more often than not, you will see them implemented. We do check through those and stick in things that look interesting. In fact, I believe somebody put in some Nitran ideas, and I was talking to our scripter saying, yeah, these look pretty good. Maybe we should get something going with that. And people called me out last week when somebody suggested Icelandic ideas, and I think I just laughed. That sounds like something I would do. But really, if you have some ideal Icelandic ideas or otherwise, by all means, pop them in to our suggestion forum. We'll check them out. The most important thing really is that we get good descriptions on them, because it's quite the it takes quite a bit of time to research enough to have some genuine descriptions going. If you help us out with that, then it's looking pretty likely that you're going to get it into the game. Although Hi-Fi Panda is saying, I'm now doing some ideas for Riga. Are you happy about it? Let me tell you, I am ecstatic. So here we go. This is, as I say, an office favorite feature for Mare Nostrum, the timeline feature. But you notice we've shot past 1800 here, because another thing that we have introduced is a continue button. So if you've hit 1821, and you're just a few provinces away from uniting, I don't know, all of Africa, for example. You just got a few more that you need to pluck away from Tunis. You can hit that continue button and keep it going. This will not allow you to go up and beyond with the Iron Man saves. So you couldn't choose your achievements like that, but you certainly can get this. So we see Ming rising to dominance, as we saw them in the year 3400. And you can really fast forward your way through this. Austria proving their mettle. They're probably going to trim away some more of Breton Brittany as time goes on. We're being asked, can you use the continue button in multiplayer? I think I passed on that question previously, and I get the feeling I'm going to have to pass on it again. I'm sure I asked and got an answer, but I have promptly forgotten it. Post it up on the forums though, and that way I'll be sure to check it out, and I won't just forget for next week. So like I was saying, this is one of the office favorites, the timeline feature, because it means once we've finished our overnights or a long game, we can just sit back and watch it unwind. I'm hoping to see quite a few GIF files about this to show off how your empires came to be. Interestingly though, nobody's wanting Siberia at this stage. It's just too cold, and well, really, you would want to leave it to the Kamchadals. I do like that skip to next song button. It's one of those things we wanted to put in for quite some time. It's already in the game, but I just wanted to give it a shout out for being such an awesome little button. So there's our timeline. We're not going to run it all the way because, well, we know how it ends here in the year 3400. I get the feeling that Star9 is probably going to run this hands off for just a bit longer. That is neither here nor there. I just wanted to show that little thing off. Otherwise, we will, we'll get it back to 1444 that we know and love. The thing is, your score keeps going up after continue mode, so if you've ever wanted a score of 1 million, now's your time. We'll get the game back to 1444 and continue with the feature stream, though. Now, as I said, if you have any questions, tag me at Paradox Interactive in the Twitch chat. I've had to do quite a bit of butchering of the setup here to get me in and working with this feature stream. Sorry in advance for that, Canoer. Which means the chat is a wee bit away from me, so I'll just have to leer over to see it. Since we have two types of cores, how will it affect achievements? If it needs a core, you're going to need a full core. That is as best as I can remember it. 1444. All we love. Release date, that I'm not actually sure if we've come out with one of those yet or not. So I'm going to have to keep my lips sealed on that one. Are there more tech levels with the extended timeline? There is no actual extra things put in for the timeline. We've simply put in that continue button if you want to keep the game going. You won't find extra features or all that much extra support there. It'll work along the way, but by all means, our game is fully moddable. If you wish to put in all those extras, push it all the way you want, 9,999 year and beyond. That is all up to you. Will custom nations be able to pick the coastal raid idea? That would be great for Norse nations. That's a good point. In fact, one that I'm going to write down, because I'm not so sure it's been put in for custom nations. A very interesting one. I think we've shown off the slave raiding before, but there's something else I'm wanting to show off, and who better to show it off with than mighty Riga? Let's jump into this. Now this is completely ad-libbed, because normally I like to have things set up to show off the features, but that is not the case today because I simply had no time to do so. Busy butchering the studio here. Let's jump into one of my favourite nations, Riga. Let's give ourselves a wonderful general, 1 siege, so he's going to be quite the desired man. And let's grab some military access from our good friends around here. One thing worth pointing out is that now we start in a trade league with good old Lubeck. Let's pop over to them. Hello Lubeck. Not a formal military alliance. In fact, if Lubeck goes to war they can't even call us in. But does mean we get a few little bonuses from them. The local goods produced that you get from merchant republics that trade inside your trade node. Here we go. Lubeck's got 11% of the power there. The amount of goods produced bonus you get is actually doubled for Trade League members. So, there we go. Jake, how is the spice trade enhanced? I'm not sure if I've got an answer for that one. In the Trade League, yes. It also means that if one is attacked, we all will be called in, so I'm sure my good friend Livonian Order is not going to jump me, but just in case they did, I would have the backing of my Trade League compatriots who are coloured in a beautiful pink on the map. But that's not what we're interested in this one. In fact, I'm tempted to eject myself from the Trade League. Nah, we'll leave ourselves in. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? We need an heir as well, so I'm always interested in the money. Let's get that merchant son on the go. Not too bad either. I'm gonna leer over to chat and grab a name from there, so our heir can be called Dr. Deep. Dr. Deep 911. How about you take to the battlefield? So what are we going to do with lovely old Riga? Well, I think we'll just go on a little expedition. Livonian Order wants an alliance with us, but we're not all that interested. We have the power to duck out of any wars that we want to. By hook or by crook, we will not be needing their help. It's nice to be in this trade league though, they're giving me the extra money. Still though, it is costing me a wee bit because of fort maintenance. I think I can be confident enough to destroy the castle that we have. And what I'm interested in, because I always do love the money, is what are the current wars that are going on in the world. Thankfully there is a ledger page for this. If we check out current wars, peace in our time. It's like part of our dev MP. Thankfully no, not the very end part of it. People have been asking when the next EU4 developer multiplayer is, and it's on hiatus for a wee bit. I don't know exactly when we'll be back with it, but I think... you know what, I don't actually have a solid date, but it will be back, I can promise you that much. Are there any new country-specific events added in Mare Nostrum? Actually, there are. There are quite a few. And that's as far as I'll tell you. We'll leave the surprise to that for later, because we actually had some extra hands with the scripting, which means we put in some new little extras here and there. So now there are quite a few wars going on. The Ottoman reconquest of Albania, as often happens. But I've got my eyes open for some more European wars. I'm going to grab some extra military access because we are soldiers of fortune here in Riga. Now we're being asked, with the new map changes, has Ireland or the North Sea trade node been reworked at all? I don't believe the trade node itself has seen any changes, but with this the North Sea itself is going to be that bit stronger, since yeah, the amount of provinces in Ireland has gone up a fair chunk. It used to be 5, it is now 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. With some extra tags, we've got Silgo, Kildare. I'm probably butchering these names, but that's just what I do. We've got Desmond, Thomond, which I think is just a renamed Munster. Oh, Mr. Deep 911 has actually seized the throne pretty early at that. And we're doing pretty good on the heirs that we're getting. Always good to be theocratic. We'll skip on that for the time being. Hopefully we'll be making plenty of money where we're going, but I wanted to keep my eye on current wars. Okay, now we've got a fair few on the go. Palatinate are conquering Alsace for starters. Poor Alsace, what did they ever do to you? So I think we should go on a little journey, shall we? Because let's face it, Riga is safe. Safe as houses, as we say. Now I know I'm taking quite the Diplo hit from marching through so many places with military access, but that's not what we're too worried about here in Riga. What are the 2 building slots in the province? Oh, the 2 buttons in the building slots. Or rather, above the building slots. It doesn't really apply to us since we have a glorious 1 province. But with the new states and territories, it's the commands to do your coring in all of the provinces within that territory or state, and to assign it as a state or otherwise. Now I get the sinking feeling that Riga is not going to be quite kitted out for this, but Palatinate, you seem to be in a bit of a pickle there. I'm not sure if they're going to have the money to afford all that much here. Sadly they don't. But, maybe we're a nice enough guy. Or maybe not. If there's no money to be made, why would we get involved? But that's where I can touch on this here. So, Palatinate, for example, are under attack by the horrific forces of Alsace. And we've caught them a bit late, so their coffers are drained. But we have the option to rent out our army, and we can set the maintenance cost. Basically, they have to pay us an upfront fee for the forces that we offer, and then after the 18 months have gone by, they have to pay us the maintenance charge. And you can rent out up to 20 units. This amount is multiplied by any additional mercenary ideas that you have. And like I said, you can set the price point. But the thing is, Palatinate are broke, and as much as they would want it, they simply cannot afford what we have to offer. So I'm afraid you don't get it there. Alsace, on the other hand, because I'm really good with my country locations here. Alsace are a bit more interested in it. You want a bit of help? Well, I can offer that. So, show us the money. And we're going to help you out there. Or at least I would say that, but we seem to have managed to get ourselves exiled. Haha. Bit of a shame for that to happen, but that's something I'm going to have to put down in the list of things to check there. So what we've done is we've hired out our army for an amount. We got paid up front, which is rather nice, and once the time is up, we will be able to get our monthly charge straight into our coffers. Let's get that set out there. I think I lost access along the way there. There we go. Let's get ourselves back into it. Mm-hmm. Okay, interestingly, stumbled across a bug with my Condottieri here, so I'm going to have to get that down and checked out next time we're working on this when I get upstairs. Well, it happens when you jump in live. As I said, this is something that is currently in development. So we'll have to see what is going on with that. So that is Condottieri as it's not to work. I wonder if we can hop over to someone else and try it out with them. As war wages across the world, what can we pick up on? Poor Circassia being attacked by the... who exactly is fighting you there? Crimea and the Golden Horde. I wonder if we can hop over to Gizamalouk there. On a Swedish keyboard, no less. There we go, debug mode. There we go. So here we have Circassia being attacked, and we might just have a little solution for them. A little bit of a solution. And they'll be... right. There's the thing, you cannot offer to your rivals anyway, so... Gizzy has Georgia and Circassia both marked as a rival. So I wonder who we can do it with. How about you with Genoa? There we go. A rocky road, but we'll get there. Let's head on over. So we've got a question, what is that new button up next to stability? Not quite a button, but this is corruption. And depending on how you run your nation, you might find yourself becoming more and more corrupt. Now corruption, as you gain it, has various negative features, but if you keep your nation uncorrupt, without any growth to it, then you're going to find some lovely bonuses going your way. Similarly, if you allow yourself to get too corrupt, then you're going to see quite a few bad things. I wonder if it shows up there. We don't have any corruption at the moment, so it's not showing us what happens, but it will raise your power costs, and that is everything that costs power is going to become more expensive in admin, dip, military, and the such. And in addition to that, you're also going to have a higher minimum autonomy across the board. So I would recommend not letting your corruption get too out of hand. You can have corruption go down through various ways. One of the main ways is to root it out, which will cost a set amount of your total income. You'll be gaining corruption from taking overextension and from lack of religious unity, as well as events and decisions that you can make. So try to balance it out. And yes, root it out. Keep it low and good events will come your way. Poor little Nassau wants to join my trade league. Never, I say. Now, I don't think things look too well for our soldiers of fortune here, if we want to save Circassia. But if there's money to be made, we should see if we can. I'm not so sure they'll be able to afford the fee again, though. So there we go. They're not going to be taking it, but you can rent out your armies for free if you are if you've got justice on your side, and then you'll be involved in the battles that they are. Although I am sending Genoa to their doom here, since I don't think they're going to magically be winning this battle. So we are not quite managing to be the Batman when we stick our Genoese soldiers of fortune out as Condottieri over in Circassia. But it's a good way to show off how it's going to be working here. So if they were to pay us some money, which sadly they cannot afford, we would be getting, first off, the down payment, and then after 18 months, we would be getting the maintenance cost paid directly into our coffers. It would be showing up under Condottieri fees. But we bring the manpower, so we'll be paying that out of our own pocket. In order to hire out your units, they're going to have to be within reach of the capital of the person who you're helping. But it also means that the enemies, or rather the people that they are hostile to, can enter your own lands. So you can't just retreat into your own places. So there we go. Unfortunately, we are the ones getting steamrolled by Circassia's enemies. They can't come in and siege us down, however, so we don't have to worry about that. We have a question coming in from the Ant King, asking if we have to fight when we rent out Condottieri. Well, strictly speaking, you don't have to. We've got some wars going on in Italy. I wonder if this is something that someone around here could benefit from. Someone like France. You don't necessarily have to fight, but if you don't, then the person who you rent your troops out to is going to be pretty disappointed, and it's going to hurt your ability to send out Condottieri in the future. No one's going to want to pay you for units that have a reputation for just fleeing when it comes to fighting. Also, if you try to hide away in your own homelands, the enemies can come and attack you. Of course, it's up to you there, but if you don't fight, then you won't be renting out your Condottieri in the future anytime soon. It would be quite a reversal to have to give it over to the Swiss, but the Swiss, unlike the others, do have a bit of money to pay. We could earn our bread if we took Armée du Nord. That's the 3-5 one, right? So that would be you. Let's give you a nice general as well, Jean Bureau. Now we could offer it to the winning side, but I'm not so sure they're going to want to take units. There we go. They think the war looks good, so they're not so interested in our units, but Switzerland, on the other hand, I wonder just how much I could offer them. I could offer them the largest army I have. That would be taking up my entire amount, but here we go. You can intervene in wars and make the difference. We might have to hurry if we want to save Bern, but I feel like I want to save Bern. Let's send out the Army Royale, and we'll make a little bit off of it. So there we go. We get the upfront money, and we send in to attack. So they thought everything was going well for them, but Savoy and their vassal Montferrat is about to get some big blue blob. Now it would be charging face first into mountains. Probably not the best thing we could ever do, but we could at least defend our Swiss brethren. Or try. Jings, I'm not good at this game at all. There we go. So as such, we can power our way through. We cannot divide up our Condottieri. They must stick together as a stack. And if you stick a general of it, the general's then stuck there as part of your commitment. But there we go. Switzerland, they're not going to give me a bad review on Yale.com. They're going to say these were some great Condottieri, would hire again. We assist in the battles and we siege down for them. Can you buy Condottieri? Yes, the AI will offer you Condottieri or offer your enemies Condottieri under certain rather specific circumstances. I would like to share a quite funny story with you early in development of Condottieri, when all the QA played together against Condottieri, and our AI programmer, whilst the smoke was still pluming from his keyboard, said, "Okay, we've got some implementation here. Give it a go." And they murdered every single QA member in a terrifically hilarious session. So following that, the AI has actually been a bit more docile in lending it out. However, if you do want to play with the AI being more aggressive in using them, switch it over to hard mode. We didn't want to waste such a beautiful implementation, so we moved it over to hard mode. Playing on normal mode, bordering militarist AIs will send out Condottieri. You can only be offered or offer Condottieri. I can't, for example, say, "Hey Austria, I'm in a war, could you give me Condottieri?" That is for them to decide. Although I could imagine the appeal of amassing loads of money and just throwing it at everyone saying, "Give me your army, please." But I get the feeling that would be ever so slightly unbalanced. We're being asked, does Condottieri give you aggressive expansion? No, it does not. The Condottieri are simply the hired muscle. I think we can take them in the mountains. Let's go for it. I'm fighting for you, Switzerland, or rather for your money. Please give me your money. I don't think it's going quite so well for us there. Well, that's what happens when you charge blindly into the mountains. Now this might look a little similar to messages you see in the current release version, but different here. We've been informed that Nevers has been discovered building a spy network. They were expelled and numerous agents arrested. The size of their spy network is 25. So instead of just finding somebody who was supporting rebels or fabricating a claim, we have Nevers who was actually building up a spy network towards us. I have it under here in covert actions, where you can build up a spy network. So they were trying to build one up. Oh my, this is what I mean. They can chase you down into your home territory. Thankfully, the Battle of Paris resulted in our favor. So yes, building up spy network is what you do, and then you spend those points that you've generated in your spy network to take spy actions, which now includes fabricating a claim. But even if you're caught, you will always have enough to fabricate a claim. That is a baseline point that you can meet. So there we go. Thanks to our invaluable assistance and the money that they paid us for it. Granted, it wasn't much, but poor Switzerland is a poor state. I was more interested in saving them. This entire war has turned around. They are now winning it, and if we just mop up a few more of their units, you'll notice that the occupation we did went over to Switzerland. We don't really have any say in this war, we're just the hired muscle. Does Condottieri give you extra relations with the country you're handing out and negative with the war target? They do not, at least not currently. You are, after all, just the hired muscle in all of this. No hard feelings, as they say. I'm sure we can take these wimps. Let's send them packing. As I said, Savoy, no hard feelings. Do you get a truce from lending your troops? You do not, however, you cannot lend your troops away when the person you're lending to is fighting in a war against someone you have a truce with. So, for example, if you are Muscovy and you have just finished tearing Novgorod apart, you can't suddenly get jumped by Novgorod who rented out Condottieri to your next target. That is definitely not based on a past experience in early implementation. Now, one of the big things about Condottieri is you are more than welcome to do this during Regency. So when the bell tolls and you find yourself stuck with 9, 12, 15 years of Regency for your horrific 0-1-0 heir, that's not going to stop you from going out and fighting. You can rent out your Condottieri, maybe make a bit of gold on the side. We're being asked if Condottieri gets wiped out, will the deal end? Yes, there is no more army to fulfill the obligation with, so the Condottieri agreement will simply end. I'd forgotten how good it is having Jean Bureau with his 3 siege, destroying those forts and destroying the enemies. So there we go. All this war score going over towards glorious Savoy. Not glorious Savoy. Glorious Switzerland. My goodness, cat got my tongue there. And then between us, Switzerland, France, a beautiful relationship is born as we take down Savoy together. And there we go. So you get some money. You get to help the countries that you really want to succeed. You get to feel good about yourself. Of course, nothing feels better than making a bit more money. In addition to that, if you fight with Condottieri, you're going to get extra prestige and military tradition. Is that the word I'm looking for? Army tradition, that's what I'm looking for. You'll get extra prestige and army tradition from rented out Condottieri, just as another little bonus to sending them out into battle. So there we go, Switzerland, they're only too happy. As I said, I think we're going to get 5 thumbs up when they review us and our Condottieri. And we had plenty of manpower to spare. The manpower comes out of our pool. So if you bring the warm bodies, they will bring the coin. Loads of questions coming out from the chat there. Can you loot, for example? Yeah, there's a good question, actually. Tell me, Condottieri, can you loot? The answer there is no. The Condottieri are satisfied with the money that they get from the Swiss. I'm not paying attention to the well-being of France here. I am simply jumping about for my own amusement. Ships are not currently part of what you can offer with Condottieri. It's not to say they never will be in the future, but that is not part of the feature here. I'm being asked to talk about a formidable something empire. Whoa. Oh, I got rid of it. Got rid of it a little too quickly there, but thanks to us keeping our corruption at rock bottom, we got a lovely event giving us some extra admin, dip, and military. Will you get paid if you avoid fights? You will get your initial down payment, which is 18 months of the price you set. Following that, though, the AI will notice that you are simply screwing them over. They will end the contract, which is more, you will get a big malice to sending out your Condottieri in the future. So people will remember that you... for example, if I had rented out my army, and then I would just sat in Paris going, yes, weather's nice today, isn't it? Switzerland would write some terrible reviews about our army. And the whole world would get the memo there and go, can't trust those French Condottieri. Being asked where is Bjorn. Bjorn and Knur as well are sadly at home resting up since they are both sick, leaving me doing this totally professional one-man show. As I said, I apologize to Knur and Bjorn for butchering the studio so that I could get this up and running, because I came down and realized no one was around. And took matters into my own hands from there. So, good job Switzerland, they grabbed 3 provinces, and they're even friendly towards me. What I think, since the war is over, well, that's rather strange, they didn't want to keep hold of Piedmont. Perhaps the Emperor came in and said, oi, give that back. So the war is now over, and they might still want our Condottieri, potentially for dealing with rebels and such, so I can still make a bit of money off of it. And I am, in fact. But once peace has come down and 18 months have passed, we can end the Condottieri agreement, because really my army has other things to do, like chilling out in Paris and enjoying some wine and beautiful weather. The beautiful weather of October. You know, here in Stockholm it is snowing. And I remember Google telling me the other day that spring has arrived, so I'm not just a little salty about that. Will the malice you receive after not participating in war with Condottieri go down over time? Yes, it will take quite a number of years, but it will go away and people will forgive and forget. Of course, if you then go on to screw them over some more, well, maybe they won't be so forgiving. Can you send mercs as Condottieri? It's a little unorthodox, but you actually can. Maybe let's give that a go. Don't need to send out too many, let's just get, I don't know, 5 of them on the go. Is anybody around us at war? Oh, I gotta hand it to this AI France, they vassalized Navarra. Now, I am certain that Castile is not going to be interested in any of our units. Some good events here. Since they have already destroyed Granada, in fact, even if I were to attempt it, even if you wanted a single unit, they would say, well, for one, they would say I'm a rival, so no way. No way, Jose, is what they would say to that. And get our army together over in Limousine. Actually, this AI France is making some clever moves. I wonder if they're going for Big Blue Blob. It's a shame I had to jump into their boots and just ruin everything. Could you see the reviews of your Condottieri? I would have to screw over an AI nation in order to see that malice, and I don't have the heart in me to do that to people today. I'm wondering who else is at war, if anybody though. Who would want some of my glorious units? The Kildarian conquest of... oh, I don't even want to try. I wonder if we can catch these guys in the act. I get the feeling we're going to be a little too short on time for helping out there. Those poor guys. But as I was saying, yes, you certainly can rent out Condottieri as mercenaries, or rather mercenaries as Condottieri. This army is the Army de l'Est, and we could say, yeah, here you go. Now, Aragon are not currently at war, not at all, so it's highly unlikely they're going to want these guys no matter what we charge, unless, of course, we give them away for free. Because people will almost always want free troops. So we can go, yeah, sure, here you go. Maybe you just want to help somebody who can't afford something with their wars or rebels or such. There's quite a bit of flexibility in where you can rent out your Condottieri. So you can make money, you can intervene in wars against someone you really want to bring down, or you can help out somebody you really want to raise, like glorious Switzerland. It was nice to do a little reversal on them today. Show the provinces of Scandinavia. Okay, I think we've shown quite a bit of what there is to show about Condottieri. As I said, if you have any questions, do tag us at Paradox Interactive. Of course, there are a lot more questions that I could ever dream of getting through, but I will actually turn my head over to the chat and pay more attention to it there. Show us the provinces of Scandinavia, though. Yeah, actually, let's get rid of that. In fact, let's Vasca France for the moment and have a look around here. So yeah, you may notice quite a few changes to the provinces around here. This has been chopped up, and I think actually the paganism has been removed from Lapland. Tragic loss for us all. It's going to make doing a shamanist Sweden that bit harder. Well, the hardest part will be the eradication of shamanism. Closest thing we now have is fetishist. Although a fetishist Sweden. Fetishism is a pagan group for Africa. And as I said, I'm looking forward to the first mod that hits the workshop that allows you to pick a fetish in the same way that you pick your deities for Hinduism or Norse. Can you raise maintenance only for your Condottieri? No, they will share the maintenance that all your other armies will. Condottieris reinforce as normal, as all the other troops do. They will still cost money and manpower. There's a question about sailors there, but it's gone. See, everything's just passing by too fast since I've butchered the studio here to get this just set up. Let's just scroll that up so I can catch the questions there. Are you guys going to fix the pirated by us malice bug in this patch? Allies will no longer pirate people, or rather pirate a node if it will offend an ally. So that should address that one. Trying to find that question about sailors that came in though. As I said, I'm one-man show here today, when normally there are three of us. Please, let's see. Will fetishism scenarios be in the random New World generation? That's a good question, and I suspect there will be. I will have to check that, though. Why does Sweden get more provinces and not Norway? If you want it bluntly, this is a Swedish company. I'm not sure if that had anything to do with it, but... Hold on, are you sure there's not something extra? Maybe I'm not remembering my provinces around here very well. They used to be bigger. Oh well. Besides, why would Norway really want more provinces? Alright, we are at war and union with Denmark, aren't we? Maybe we can solve both of those things by integrating Denmark. And then we'll just get rid of Denmark because we really don't want it. Now, why would Norway want more provinces when the most important change has already been made? Welcome to Iceland. I really hope the tag is ice. Already is. Yes, Sweden might get the extra provinces, but Norway now reigns over Iceland. Its own tag that can be released and played as. So if you want these impossibly expensive provinces to develop, they're there for you. Quite a few requests about splitting this province. It's almost as if I know what province it is. Ah, split Agdegare. I wouldn't want to split that glorious 6th development. Add a Latvian nation so there isn't just an Estonian nation, which is so sad and makes everyone angry. You know what? Let's settle for Livonia, shall we? No split Agdegare, my community will rage. There aren't going to be any map changes done this late into the game, or at least for this patch. So, no can do. The provinces of Hungary have also changed. At a glance, I couldn't tell you which, but I was actually shocked when I jumped over to Hungary to find that we have Nitra there now. So, even changes in here that catch me by surprise. I don't believe we currently have any special ideas for Iceland. I was touching on this earlier. Currently they're just given the generic national ideas. As I said, if you have great ideas, and especially descriptions for those ideas, pop over to our suggestions forum, and even tag me with it, at DDRJake, and I shall go in and check them out, pass them over to our scripting guru Trintragula, who loves adding in new ideas. Will there ever be an option to assassinate a nation's leader? Says, I want to be noticed. Okay, I really hope I've made your day by saying that. And all I can say is, no comment. Somebody is asking about some of the new espionage options that are here. But, sadly, my lips are sealed, at least for today. We will definitely have more on that later. A Hungary that actually looks like Hungary. This is no longer a Paradox game. No, this ceased being a Paradox game when Memel stopped being square. I was actually reading a great post about changes that have been made to our map throughout the years and patches. Gave me a bit of a nostalgia seeing square Memel once again. You know, time flies, we're already creeping up on 4 PM, which is where we're going to have to axe this. So what I'll do is I will take a few more final questions before shutting this down. We've been focusing on the Condottieri today. So if you have any questions especially pertaining to that, I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, just throw it over here. How is the development looking now in Lithuania? I know this question came up and I think I did not touch on it. So let's have a look. You are lit, right? LIT for Lithuania. I don't think they've expanded any. Have you expanded any? Not here, boss, they say. And we're looking at 273 for them. I think they used to be more than France before, so they've been shunted down a little bit. Release date. Ah, my lips are sealed on that one. Nitron I don't believe have any ideas in yet, but I suspect, strongly suspect, that they will be added before too long. Will we be able to pre-order Hearts of Iron 4? I believe that question is better suited for 24 hours from now when we are doing World War Wednesday. Maybe 24? Maybe more like 22 and a half. New daimyos. A very keen-eyed person grabbed a little screenshot from the previous feature stream around here. Was it these guys? I think it might have been these guys. In any case, a slight adjustment there. Ah, good old Japan. Good old Ainu. Emote is asking to see Africa. We looked at them at the very start, but I have no problem looking at them once more. Shift ourselves into observe gear, and here we go. This is the second huge overhaul that Africa gets. I remember when we added all these in Art of War, and now all of these joining in Mare Nostrum. Mutapa's already gobbled up some of them around it, but it's really, we've ran a lot of hands-off on this. It's curious to see who tends to end out on top. Also, the nation that loves to close their ports and borders, Madagascar, they're now going to have their own internal fight for supremacy. Its own little mini-game, if you will, much like playing in a daimyo in Japan. Not the same kind of mechanics, but you will want to gain superiority on this island before you start striking out. And these guys have their idea sets as well. For example, Imerina traditions for Imerina there. What have these guys got? Antemoro traditions. Ah, I'd love to check them out a bit more, but we are short on time. Just checking out for more questions that are in the chat. Price tag will be announced when the release date is announced. Sorry for the circular answer there, but I don't have either of those figures to hand. Will the AI be able to screw you by not helping with Condottieri you pay for? I certainly hope that not. That is not the intention. They will be able to get access where you have access, so they'll be able to... Oh, can you give them bad reviews for it? Actually, if they were to underperform, then yes, they would be getting the bad review. Show all the regions in the world. Great, I know this question came in before and we were not able to show it, so if we go over to geographic map mode and go by... Oh my, there are a lot of areas in the world, so I hope you have really good vision and extremely good memory. Or a print screen button on the VODs there, but we broke up a lot of the areas and regions in the world. Some people might notice a nice little colourful change here. A lot of it for balance with these states and territories, which are based on your areas. You'll get quite a lot of those to assign as states, especially towards the late game. I believe earlier we had them as regions, but we have further balanced them to be based on areas, and now you get many more of them. So you can be a lot more specific in the lands that you are going to treat as your core territory. The heartland of your country. You will notice that quite a few areas and regions have been split up or merged into one another. I'll have another quick look over in the Americas. And there we go, that's your lot on that. You'll be able to check them out in much greater detail when Mare Nostrum hits the shelves. Rome, show us Rome. Certainly, here is Rome. The Third Rome, Ottomans. Brilliant nation. Almost too good. Can you rent out more than 20 units? Does it increase late game? Right, so if we hop back over to... Okay, France are not at war, so let's jump back into their shoes. The AI, unlike me, is actually pretty good at using their diplomats. Let's just undo their hard work. You have a maximum here of 20 units to rent out. But let's say that we are really good, and we got a bit of extra technology, and grabbed some ideas. Where will we even go for this? Yeah, that seems about right. Let's get some admin ideas on the go. Let's give ourselves loads of admin. Chings, that might have been a touch too much. Once you get extra mercenaries as an idea, that will also have the effect of boosting the amount of units that you can rent out. So now we're able to give out 25% more. I think Switzerland, if I'm not terribly mistaken, gets similar buffs to that. No, theirs is on mercenary maintenance. But there are other ideas that boost the available mercenaries. There we go, another 25% if you go plutocratic. Get it from administrative, and there will be other sources as well. There, no. Ooh. James, the things you learn when doing the feature streams. So yes, that is how you boost up the amount of units that you can give away and rent out for that extra coin. I'm actually way behind in the chat here, so let's scroll that down. In fact, we're already past the marker with the 4 o'clock, so I think I'll take in 3 more questions here. We've got, can I use Condottieri only for battles and not contribute to sieges? Sieges and or battles, they'll both contribute nicely. So you can do either or. It's not a question, but Basistov says, love the work guys, keep up the good work. Well, thank you very much. Comments like that go a long way. When will you announce the release date? That would simply be passing the buck on that one. What is the country between Tlemcen and Morocco? They've been around for quite a long time, I believe. Either that or I've got my head in the sand, but these guys are Tafilaut. Man, he looks good. And one more. Will sailor numbers needed for building a ship increase as you upgrade Diplotech? I believe not. But don't take my word for it. Let's take the game's word for it. We are Castile. Let's go good old Tech 30. And pause the game because we're going to get event spam for time traveling or discovering unknown technologies. Nope, still the same. 250, 150. And as I said, one more question coming in. Are the islands between Madagascar and Africa their own provinces? Not actually too sure what you're meaning by these ones, but... Oh, right, no, these are just the Kornoros Islands. All one together there. Okay, there are many more questions and certainly many more to come, but that is all that we have the time for today. This was today's feature stream for Europa Universalis IV Mare Nostrum. And I don't have a release date or price for you, but I'm certain Bjorn or others will come with one before too long. So thank you very much for joining. We've covered quite a bit on Condottieri today. Otherwise recapping on or clarifying some of the other features we have shown previously, especially that timeline. Shout out to Starnan for bringing us the year 3400, because you know, you need a bit of Stellaris in all of our games, right? So from us here at Paradox for now, thanks for joining, and we hope to see you again in about 22 hours, give or take. We're going to be having World War Wednesday tomorrow. It'll be Daniel and myself slugging through China with Japan. And yeah, maybe we'll drop a bomb or two while we're at it. But for now, cheers and cheerio.